slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this life full of sin. No turning back, I'll represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never change.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment.
What's good, G-Life? This right here is Cali, California. Now today we are going to be covering all Colonia varrios. Yes, Colonia. Colonia, obviously, you know, being a colony, you know, just translated in Spanish. You know, because you do get neighborhoods that often use the term like crowd, mob, crew, bunch. Another term that gets used also is Colonia. You know what I mean? As your colony. Because several neighborhoods use this as their title. And we'll be breaking them all down right here because they're all different barrios. Nothing, you know, to do with each other. Just a coincidence. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, to find one of these Colonia neighborhoods, you know, if not the oldest one out of all of them, at least, you know, from what I was told, is the barrio Anaheim, La Colonia. La Colonia Anaheim has been said to have been started since the 20s, late 20s, early 30s when this neighborhood was established right here in Orange County, because Orange County has a rich history when it comes to the Raza movement and everything like that. It was a very diverse and racist area, you know, back then. You had a lot of Klans members and you had a lot of racism going on and a lot of you know, a lot of hatred being spilled towards the raza, you know what I mean? They were only allowed to, you know, to be in certain, you know, locations. And they were pretty much treated like shit, bro. You know what I mean? And then when the, you know, Mexican Revolution happened, you know what I mean? More families coming up north and stuff like that. You know, landing in these locations. You know, they got tired of the abuse. They fought for the independence of the land and got the independence, you know what I mean? Of the land. You know, as their own colony. You know what I mean? But it was broken down into sections because you had different colonies. You know what I mean? You had the Colonia Independencia. They had the colony Juarez. You had the colony La Paz, and then you had the Colonia Manzanillo. And then you had other bunches like La Joya, you had La Paloma, and you know, and etc. You know, throughout these areas, you know what I'm saying? Throughout, you know, what's Anaheim, throughout what's La Habra, throughout what's you know, Campo, Corona, all of that. You know, one day I'll do a video breaking down the whole history and, you know, the roots of the Orange County area because it does have a lot. It's an interesting story. You know what I'm saying? But this barrio is an old barrio. It's not as large as it once was because, you know, obviously the hood has been combating these vatos for quite some time. But don't get it twisted. These guys are with the business. I was told that they're roughly a few hundred heads. So they do have numbers to them. And they do hold it down right here in Anaheim, you know. And they have no connection to the rest of the Colonia neighborhoods. Like I said, it's just one of those things where it's a common name, you know, that gets used. You know, just like, you know, with like the Dogtown neighborhoods and the you know, the Wicked Mines and, you know, and etc. that I have already covered right here. And their territory of this neighborhood is everything that's from like Pacific and Garza. You know, that's one of their, you know, hangout spots there. You know, their domain, you know, where they get it on and cracking. You know what I'm saying? That's where, you know, they be posting and, you know, where the chaos ensues, you know what I mean? Like I said, because this area is definitely with the business, homie. It be cracking right here. Don't ever sleep on Orange County, because you could get hurt. You know what I'm saying? They be dealing with all kinds of shit since the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I said, you had a lot of white supremacist groups. You had a lot of racism going on. You had a lot of things cracking and conflicts between groups. You know what I mean? Clashes, because obviously they were gonna defend their raza, and it is what it is. But not just on Garza and Pacific, but you could also find them right there on Catalina and Harcourt. That's also right there is, their territory. Like I said, just throughout these areas were you able to find La Anaheim, La Colonia Rifa, and still holding it down for theirs. Now, to find the second oldest and largest Colonia neighborhood, we actually have to travel to the area that is known as the 805. Yes, Ventura County, city of Oxnard to be exact. You already know the city of Oxnard be cracking, home to the very notorious and infamous Chica gangs. You know what I mean? All different gangs. Just use the term Chicas is the only thing that they have in common, but they're all different barrios. And I have already explained what the word Chica means. It means a young Chicano. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with gang banging or nothing like that. That's what they used to call the young zoot suiters back in the days. Chicanitos, Chicas. That is where the term comes from. So not from Little Chicago or none of that. And the barrio Eastside La Colonia Chiques is the largest one. The most recognizable one, the one that's made headlines. And I was told that this neighborhood is roughly a few thousand heads to them. So they are large. And they went to function, homie, right here. You know what I mean? They are the most recognizable neighborhood within this area. And their barrio is everything that's right there on Oxnard Boulevard. Oxnard Boulevard, their territory still extends all the way to where the community gardens at. And from that, I would say that their territory still extends all the way to where Low Bard Street's at. And from Lower Bard Street, I would say that their territory still extends all the way to 5th. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. Throughout Eastman, throughout Santa Lucia, throughout San Gorguño. I think that's how you pronounce that street. Throughout Rose Avenue, all of that. All of that is what's considered the barrio Eastside La Colonia Chiques gang. You know what I mean? And not just right there, because you can find them spread out in different locations within, the city of Oxnard, because they are that massive. I'm telling y'all, they are not playing right here. Because you could also find them right there on Severus Road and Oxnard Boulevard, and all the way to throughout Geisler Avenue. So that's what's Maple, what's Kamala, what's Hemlock, throughout Guava, Fair Avenue, Data, California, all of that. It's where you're able to find the La Colonia Chiques. Like I said, massive gang. Was spread out throughout this location. It cracks right here. You know what I mean? It is the neighborhood that is most recognizable with the city of Oxnard, even though Oxnard, is home to a gang of neighborhoods. Obviously this being the largest and the oldest, they be holding it down and putting theirs on the map. Another barrio that uses the term Colonia. Now for this one, we actually have to make our way to the Inland Empire. Yes! The Inland Empire is home to one of these Colonia gangs, despite what individuals want to say. I never come to wolf it, lie, make up, none of that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Hate it or love it. Because yes, this area is home to a Colonia barrio. Actually, we have to make our way to the area that is known as Highland. But I was told at least that Highland is not where they originated at, but they actually originated out of the area of Redlands. They were a Paisa crew before that was Sureños. But then they changed it to La Colonia roughly around the 90s, roughly a more smaller neighborhood. And this was just called Colonia. So not La Colonia like the ones in Anaheim or this is just called Colonia, Barrio Colonia. And their territory is everything that's from Sterling Avenue to Highland Avenue. The territory still extends throughout Palm Avenue. The territory still goes to 5th Street. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. So throughout 9th, you can find them throughout 9th. You can find them throughout Baseline Street. You can find them throughout Pacific Street. You can find them throughout Victoria Avenue. All of that is what's considered their barrio. You know what I mean? To the Barrio Colonia. And like I said, they were a Paisa neighborhood in the beginning that just established their flag and put it down for theirs and continue to still represent theirs. A little bit more of a smaller neighborhood, but nonetheless, homie, a real gang that puts it down for the IE and Colonia right there. Another neighborhood that we have, for this one, we actually have to make our way to the area of San Diego. I have already covered this in the last episode that I did where I talked about all garden neighborhoods. Because, right here is home to one of these Colonia neighborhoods, which is an old barrio in itself already, too. From the area where the rapper Lil Rob comes from. You have the barrio Eden Garden La Colonia. Eden Garden La Colonia is already an old barrio that has already been right here. Named after the area. Already been right here for a long time. It once was a large neighborhood. It's not as large no more because due to gentrification. You already know how that goes, bro. It took a toll on their neighborhood, but don't ever get it twisted because they still have homies that put it down right there throughout the whole entire Eden Garden area. They got real writers for their sets, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's the area that Lil Rob, put it down for. Hey, these guys, they got real writers for their neighborhood, you know what I mean? Don't ever get it twisted for that LC, the Eden Garden, La Colonia, an old barrio that still maintains right here in the area of San Diego and still putting theirs on the map. Another barrio that you have right here in the OC, that is one of these Colonia neighborhoods. And for this one, we still maintain right here in the area, because like I said, when all these different colonies broke to become their own individual colonias, like I said, although the other ones may have died out, and haven't kept their names up, Colonia Juarez is still one that you catch representing, that still have their homies that put it down for their barrio, the Colonia Juarez, the CJR, Colonia Juarez Rifa, obviously, just south of the Mile Square, Regent Park on Fountain Valley was, where they were established since the 1923, and like I said, real individuals that handle real things right there, homie. They ain't playing in that Colonia Juarez neighborhood. Like I said, homie, mistreatment, banding together, having pride in your area, in your movement and what you guys were doing. Obviously, since then and what now, the gangs obviously mutate and take a life of their own, because their original reasons why they start is not the same, reasons why they're still continuing now. It's two whole different, things behind it. But nevertheless, homie, it is a real barrio that continues to still represent right here for theirs and La Colonia Juarez and still putting theirs on the map. Another barrio that you have, now for this one, we actually have to travel to the area that is known as Bakersfield. Yes, Kern County, on our way to Kern County. Because Kern County is home to one of these Colonia barrios. Bakersfield obviously being home to several different gangs, but one of the most recognizable neighborhoods is known as the Colonia Barrio Bakers. Yes, Colonia Barrio Bakers is located on the east side of this area, and this is one of Bakersfield, most recognizable large neighborhoods, you know what I mean? Obviously named after the Colonia right here. It definitely be cracking right here. Like I said, homie, don't ever get it twisted. They are with the business. These guys are not playing, bro. These guys definitely have been known already to put it down right here. At least from what I was told, that this neighborhood was established since the early 70s when this barrio was right there, doing their thing, for theirs. So they already have a cool minute as well. Don't ever think that it was just like areas like LA County or San Diego that these gangs were popping up. You know what I mean? It was happening everywhere, about equally. You know what I mean? And Bakersfield being no different. Obviously, Bakersfield, since then, there was not that many gangs. But obviously now it took a life of its own. You know what I mean? Because there's just, so many different gangs now within the area. You have the Baker Lomas, the Okie Bakers, the West, South, East. You just have so many different gangs within the area of Bakersfield. It be getting crazy, and not just with Hispanics, because you also have black gangs as well. So don't ever get it twisted. You know what I mean? It definitely cracks in this area. It be popping off in Bakersfield, and the Bakers East Side, Colonia Barrio Bakers is one of the largest and well recognized, neighborhoods within this area that puts it down for theirs. These guys ain't no suckers, homie. You get caught slipping on the wrong street, and it's a wrap. Like I said, because don't ever, think just because it's out here that that they ain't really gangbanging or nothing like that. Never underestimate any area, because like I said, anywhere it could pop off with a snap of a finger, bro. And this area be no different with these gangs. And now their territory is pretty large. They probably have the largest amount of territory throughout all these neighborhoods. Their neighborhood is everything that's from Washington. Their territory still extends to California. Their territory goes to Vermont Avenue, to where the Vallarta's at, on Neela's Point, and their territory still goes all the way to Fairfax Road and back to Burdunge Lane. I think that's how you say it. Throughout the highway and throughout Oswald Street and California Avenue, throughout Oak Ridge. That is what's known as the Barrio Colonia Bakers, homie. One of the largest, most recognizable neighborhoods right here in Kern County, holding it down for theirs. That be holding it down. Now here we have the WCW neighborhood. Not to be confused with the wrestling label. This is Watts Colonia Wiggins. Watts Colonia Wiggins is a notorious neighborhood right here in Watts, homie. This is one neighborhood that gives law enforcement definitely a hard time. These guys are no chumps, no pushovers. They're with the business, homie. You get what I mean? As a matter of fact, this neighborhood has made the news a few times. They're one of the neighborhoods that law enforcement do warn people about. They even have members that are like on America's Most Wanted, with like $1 million ransoms and all kinds of, rewards for tips. And I'm telling you, man, these guys are crazy, homie. This neighborhood is, well known through this area. You know what I mean? They with the business, my boy. They get it on and cracking right there. You feel me? Now their neighborhood has been already right here since the 70s, so not as old school as like some of these other neighborhoods that are around in this area, and they're not as large. But nonetheless, homie, even though they're not as large, they kick it up, homie. Like they be getting it cracking. You know what I mean? You can find them close to like 110th Street. You know what I mean? Is where you can find this neighborhood, and like I said, homie, these guys are with the business, homie. They be going at it right there, pretty much with like the Graves, the Suicide Watts, a few other sets. And to this day, they still be holding it down right there for theirs. But that's what WCW translates to. It stands for Watts Colonia Wiggins. And representing right there in Wiggins and holding it down and definitely putting their barrio up on the map, you feel me? But that's what's up with them right there.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.